Jack Mason stared out the viewport of the transport ship as it approached Nexus Station. The massive structure hung in space like a giant metal spider, with long docking arms extending from a central hub. Hundreds of ships from all corners of the galaxy moved around it. Jack took a deep breath to calm his nerves. "First time off-world?" asked the pilot, a friendly man named Steve Harris. "First time meeting aliens," Jack replied. "Hard to believe 3 years ago we didn't even know they existed." Steve nodded. "And now you're our first ambassador. No pressure, right?" Jack forced a smile. As the ship docked with the station, he straightened his navy blue uniform and checked his reflection in a small mirror. Average height, brown haircut, short, clean-shaven face with a small scar on his chin from a childhood accident. Nothing special about him, yet here he was, representing all of humanity to the 17 alien species of the Galactic Council. The transport door opened with a soft hiss. Jack took another deep breath and stepped onto Nexus Station. 2 aliens waited for him. The one on the left looked almost human except for the silver skin and completely black eyes. The one on the right was shorter with 4 arms and blue-green, scales covering its body. Ambassador Mason, the silver-skinned alien said in perfect English, "I am Ishara of the Luminari. This is Grex of the Vordath. We welcome you to the Galactic Council." Jack bowed slightly. "Thank you for the welcome. I'm honored to represent Earth at this historic meeting." Ishara led Jack through wide corridors filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange Jack couldn't even guess which parts were heads and which were limbs. Many stopped to stare at him. "You are quite the curiosity," Ishara explained. "Most species are introduced to the galaxy gradually through trade or scientific exchange. Your world was only discovered when one of your space probes was found drifting at the edge of your solar system. Voyager 2, Jack said, launched in 1977. Yes. The Council debated for many months whether to initiate contact or place your system under quarantine. Your history contains much violence." Jack felt a chill. "Quarantine?" "It is standard procedure for potentially dangerous species," Grex said, its voice deeper and rougher than Ishara's. "Many believed humans should be contained until you either destroyed yourselves or evolved beyond your violent tendencies." "And you?" Jack asked. "What did you believe?" "I advocated for contact," Ishara said. "I believe isolation rarely leads to growth." Grex was among those who voted against. Grex made a clicking sound with its mouth. "I still have concerns. No offense intended, Ambassador." "None taken," Jack replied, though he felt uneasy. They arrived at his quarters, a simple room with a bed, desk, and what looked like a shower. After Ishara and Grex left, Jack sat on the edge of the bed and opened the small case he'd brought with him. Inside was a framed photo of his wife Kate and their daughter Lily, both smiling on a beach in Florida. He placed it on the desk. "I miss you both already," he whispered. The council meeting began the next morning. Jack entered a massive circular chamber with tiered seating. In the center was a round platform where speakers stood. 17 sections held representatives from each council species. Humans were not yet members, so Jack sat in a small observer area to the side. The council leader, a tall being with feathers instead of hair, called the meeting to order. For hours, representatives discussed trade agreements, border disputes, and scientific discoveries. Jack struggled to follow everything despite his translator earpiece. Finally, the topic turned to Earth. "We will now discuss the status of Sol 3, known to its inhabitants as Earth," the council leader announced. "Ambassador Jack Mason of Earth is present as an observer." All eyes turned to Jack. He nodded respectfully. Ambassador Zekalath of the Viridians rose to speak. The Viridian was insect-like, with compound eyes and a hard exoskeleton. Its voice buzzed through Jack's translator. "Colleagues, I have studied the history of these humans extensively. Their entire existence is marked by warfare. They develop weapons before they develop medicine. They divide themselves by arbitrary boundaries and kill each other over differences in appearance and belief. They are a danger to themselves and would certainly be a danger to the galactic community." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Jack fought to keep his expression neutral despite the harsh assessment. Ishara of the Luminary spoke next. While humanity's history contains violence, so does the history of every species represented here. The Viridians themselves were once warlike before they joined the Council. What matters is humanity's potential. The debate continued, growing more heated. Some Council members supported Earth's inclusion as a provisional member. Others wanted Earth quarantined, cut off from all contact with other worlds. As Zaklath began another critical speech, the lights in the chamber flickered. A harsh alarm blared through the station. "Containment breach in Sector 7, announced an automated voice. "Security teams respond." Before anyone could react, the main doors burst open. An enormous alien charged into the chamber, bigger and more fearsome than any Jack had seen. It stood on two legs with four powerful arms covered in black armor-like plates. In its upper hands it held a weapon. "Moralkan!" someone shouted in terror. Jack had been briefed about the Moralkans, a hostile hive species rejected from Council membership decades ago. They were known for their aggression and military prowess. The Moralkan pointed its weapon directly at Counselor Ishara, who had frozen in place. Time seemed to slow for Jack. Without conscious thought, his hand moved to his hip where a ceremonial laser pistol hung. All ambassadors were given these as symbols of trust, though Jack had been told it was merely a symbolic gesture. In one fluid motion, Jack drew the pistol and fired. A beam of blue light struck the Moralkan precisely where its armor plates met, at the neck. The creature stumbled, its weapon falling unfired, then collapsed to the floor. Silence filled the chamber. Every alien stared at Jack, who still held the smoking pistol. Security teams rushed in, surrounding the fallen Moralkan. Medical staff checked the creature and confirmed it was dead. "Impossible," Zaklath buzzed. "A direct hit to the neural cluster. Even our best marksmen rarely achieve such precision against Moralkan armor." Ishara approached Jack slowly. "You saved my life, Ambassador. How did you make such a shot?" Jack lowered the weapon, his hand shaking slightly. "I don't know. I just reacted." "He doesn't even realize what he's done," another council member whispered. The council leader called for order. "This meeting is suspended pending a security investigation. Ambassador Mason, please remain on the station. There will be questions." As the chamber emptied, Jack stood alone, still holding the pistol. One human, one shot. And he had no idea. He had just triggered what would become a galactic conflict. Jack sat in his quarters on Nexus Station, watching news broadcasts from across the galaxy. 3 days had passed since he fired the shot that killed the Moralkan intruder. In those 3 days, everything had changed. The Moralkan Hive Imperium had issued a formal declaration of war not just against Earth, but against the entire Galactic Council. They claimed their operative had been a political refugee seeking asylum, unjustly executed by a violent human. Few believed this story, but it gave the Moralkans the excuse they needed. A soft chime sounded at his door. Jack turned off the screen and stood up. "Enter," he called. Counselor Ishara glided into the room, silver skin gleaming under the lights. "Ambassador Mason," Ishara said, "the Council has reached a decision about Earth." Jack swallowed hard. "And?" The vote was close. 9 species voted to grant Earth provisional membership and protection. 8 voted to abandon your world to avoid full-scale war with the Moralkans. Jack let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Thank you." "Do not thank me yet," Ishara said. "The Moralkans have already dispatched scout ships to your solar system. Their main battle fleet will arrive within 2 weeks. The Council can provide some technology and advice, but we have limited military resources." Jack sat back down, the weight of the situation crushing him. "I've doomed my planet." "You saved my life," Ishara countered. "The Moralkans have sought war with the Council for decades. Your shot did not cause this conflict. It merely provided the spark they were waiting for." "I need to get back to Earth," Jack said. "They need to prepare." Ishara nodded. "A ship is waiting to take you home. One more thing, Ambassador. The Council has voted to send representatives from friendly species to assist your world. I will be among them. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Olivia Reed stood at attention in the Pentagon's main briefing room. At 32, she was young for her position in naval intelligence. Her short blonde hair was pulled back in a regulation style, and her uniform was perfectly pressed despite having worked for 48 hours straight. General Frank White, commander of Earth Defense Forces, entered the room with a group of grim-faced officials. Everyone took their seats around the large table. "Ladies and gentlemen," the general began, "3 days ago our ambassador fired a shot that has apparently started an interstellar war. 2 hours ago, alien ships were detected entering our solar system. We are facing a threat unlike anything in human history." He clicked a button, and a holographic display appeared above the table, showing Earth and 7 small dots representing ships. "This is what we have," he continued. 7 vessels retrofitted with alien technology provided by friendly council species over the last 3 years, against an enemy fleet that will number in the thousands. Olivia raised her hand. "Sir, what do we know about Moralkan tactics?" "Not enough," the general admitted. "That's why you're here, Lieutenant. You've studied every piece of data we have on alien military capabilities. You're now Commander Reed, in charge of our defense fleet." Olivia blinked in surprise. "Sir? There must be more qualified officers. None with your understanding of alien warfare. You have 2 weeks to prepare a defense for our entire planet." After the meeting, Olivia sat alone in her new office, staring at files on Moralkan battle strategies. The door opened and a young man with worried eyes entered. "Commander Reed? I'm Peter Campbell, your new aide. Peter, I need everything we have on hive mind psychology and Moralkan ship capabilities." "Yes, Commander. Also, Ambassador Mason will be arriving in 6 hours. General White wants you to brief him immediately." Olivia nodded. "Set up a secure room, and Peter, find me anyone who's good at thinking outside the box. Artists, game designers, science fiction writers. We need ideas that aliens won't expect." When Jack's ship landed at Andrews Air Force Base, he was met by a military escort. They took him directly to a bunker below the Pentagon where Commander Reed waited. "Ambassador Mason," she said, shaking his hand, "I've heard a lot about your shot." "Lucky," Jack said. "Nothing but luck. Luck or not, we're now at war." She led him to a room with wall screens showing Earth's defense plans. "The Moralkans will arrive with overwhelming force in 13 days. We're evacuating coastal cities and moving key industries underground. What about the ships they're sending us? From the Council?" "Minimal help. The Council species are afraid of direct involvement. They're sending technology and a few advisors, but the fight will be mostly ours." Jack studied the screens. "What's your strategy?" Olivia smiled thinly. "The Moralkans are expecting us to fight like other Council species, predictable by the book. But humans have never read their book. We're going to fight dirty." Over the next week, Earth prepared for war. The public was told a partial truth, that aliens had been discovered and that some were hostile. Panic was widespread at first, but as governments worldwide united for the first time in history, a strange calm settled over humanity. Meanwhile, Olivia worked with a strange team of military officers, scientists, science fiction writers, and game designers to develop unconventional tactics. "The Moralkans think in unison," she explained to her team. "They expect enemies to act like individuals or to follow rigid military doctrine. They won't expect what we're planning." Jack divided his time between working with Olivia's team and meeting with Counselor Ishara and other alien advisors who had arrived from the Council. "Your species continues to surprise me," Ishara told Jack as they observed a training exercise. Soldiers were practicing with makeshift alien weapons. Most species, when facing such odds, would surrender or seek to flee. "That's not how humans work," Jack replied. "We get our backs against the wall. We fight harder. The Moralkans believe your shot was evidence of hidden human abilities, precision beyond what should be possible for your species. They fear what else you might be capable of." Jack laughed bitterly. "They should be afraid of Commander Reed, not me. She's the one with the real plan." On the 12th day, the first Moralkan battlecruisers appeared in Earth's orbit. Huge insect-like ships that dwarfed anything humans had built. Rather than attacking immediately, they broadcast a message to every screen and device on the planet. People of Earth, the message began, translated into all major languages. We are the Moralcan Hive Imperium. Your representative, Jack Mason, committed an act of war against our people. Surrender him to us within 24 hours or we will begin planetary bombardment. In the Pentagon bunker, all eyes turned to Jack. They want me, he said quietly. They want an excuse, Olivia corrected. If we gave you to them, they'd find another reason to attack. So what do we do? Olivia looked at her team, then back at the screen showing the Moralcan ships in orbit. We give them what they're asking for, she said, just not in the way they're expecting. As the 24-hour deadline approached, Earth's 7 small ships moved into defensive positions. Aboard the flagship, now named Defiant, Commander, Reed gave the order that would begin humanity's first interstellar war. Let's show them what one human with one shot can really start, she said. The Moralcan deadline was just 2 hours away. In a secure room deep beneath the Pentagon, Jack Mason watched as technicians worked on what looked like a perfect copy of himself. Is it ready? He asked Dr. Natalie Cooper, the lead scientist on the project. Natalie adjusted something on the back of the Jack copy's neck. Almost. The hologram will hold up to visual inspection, but not physical contact. They won't get close enough to touch it, Commander Olivia Reed said, entering the room. The plan is to send the hologram Jack to their ship under the pretense of surrender. Once aboard, we trigger the device. Jack studied his duplicate. The hologram technology had been provided by Counselor Ishara, but humans had added their own twist. Hidden inside the holographic projector was a small but powerful explosive device. And while they're distracted by my fake surrender, what happens? Jack asked. Olivia unrolled a map on the table. Our 7 ships will engage their fleet from these positions. We've studied the Moralcan ships closely. They have 3 weak points that most species can't exploit because it requires unpredictable attack patterns. How many of these hologram bombs do we have? 500, Natalie replied, all programmed to look like various human diplomats and scientists, all set to detonate simultaneously. Jack shook his head in amazement. The Moralcans think we're predictable, that we'll either hand me over or fight conventionally. Exactly, Olivia said. They've never fought humans before. They don't know what we're capable of. Aboard the Moralcan command ship, War Master Viktal received the human transmission. We will deliver Jack Mason to your vessel, the message said. A small shuttle will approach carrying the ambassador and 1 escort. We ask for assurances that you will depart our system after receiving him. Viktal chittered to his sub-commanders. The humans surrender so easily. Disappointing. I expected more resistance from the species that produced such a perfect shot. Perhaps it was merely luck, as our intelligence suggested, said Sub-Commander Zuckmar. Luck is not a factor in galactic affairs, Viktal replied dismissively. Prepare to receive the human shuttle. Once we have the ambassador, we will proceed with the invasion as planned. 1 hour later, a small Earth shuttle approached the massive Moralcan vessel. Inside, the hologram Jack sat next to Dr. Alan West, a volunteer scientist who had worked closely with the alien advisors. Are you sure this will work? Alan asked over the comm to Olivia. It has to, she replied from the Defiant. Just get the package delivered and get out fast. The shuttle docked with the Moralcan ship. Alan and hologram Jack were escorted by armed Moralcan guards through narrow corridors to the command center. The hologram was programmed to look nervous, but dignified, walking with measured steps exactly as the real Jack would. War Master Viktal towered over them, nearly 8 feet tall with his 4 arms crossed over his chitinous chest. The human who defied probability, Viktal said through a translator. One shot that altered galactic politics. Your species is too dangerous to exist. The hologram was programmed with basic responses. I got lucky, it said. Humans aren't as dangerous as you think. Luck is not a factor in galactic affairs, the War Master responded. Alan backed away slowly. As agreed, we've delivered Ambassador Mason. I'll return to my shuttle now. You will remain, Viktal ordered. Once we confirm this is truly Mason, you may leave. Alan felt sweat form on his forehead. The plan required him to be clear of the ship before detonation. War Master, came a voice from a console. Human ships are moving into attack positions. Vikatal chittered angrily. Treachery. Scan the human. As a Moralkan officer moved toward the hologram with a scanning device, Alan pressed a hidden button on his sleeve. Actually, he said, you're right about one thing. Luck isn't a factor in galactic affairs. Planning is. The hologram Jack smiled. The real Jack Mason sends his regards. Across the Moralkan fleet, 500 seemingly human diplomats, scientists, and emissaries, all advanced holograms concealing compact antimatter charges, simultaneously activated. The hologram projectors had been delivered to various Moralkan ships over the previous hours disguised as gifts and peace offerings. The explosions rippled through the Moralkan fleet, not enough to destroy their ships completely, but enough to damage key systems and throw them into confusion. Alan ran for the shuttle bay as alarms blared throughout the Moralkan flagship. He barely made it to his ship and undocked as secondary. Explosions rocked the vessel. From behind Earth's moon, the 7 ships of the human defense fleet emerged. They were small compared to the Moralkan vessels, but now they faced a damaged and disorganized enemy. On the bridge of the Defiant, Olivia watched as the Moralkan ships struggled to regroup. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega, she ordered. Target their propulsion systems first, weapons second. The human ships moved in ways no alien strategist could have predicted. Instead of maintaining formation, they split up and attacked individually, each following a different pattern. Some darted in close to the giant Moralkan vessels, firing at point-blank range before speeding away. Others hung back, targeting damaged sections with precision strikes. The Moralkans, used to fighting opponents who followed logical battle doctrine, were unable to predict where the human ships would strike next. In the Pentagon bunker, Jack watched the battle unfold on large screens. Counselor Ashara stood beside him. Remarkable, the alien said. Your ships move as individuals, not as a fleet. Each captain seems to be making independent decisions. That's the plan, Jack explained. Olivia gave each captain a basic objective, but left the execution up to them. The Moralkans can't predict what we'll do because we're not following any pattern they recognize. A dangerous strategy. If your ships do not coordinate, they could interfere with each other. That's the beauty of humans, Counselor. We can think as individuals and still work toward a common goal. The battle raged for hours. 3 human ships were lost, their crews evacuated to the Defiant, but the Moralkan fleet suffered far worse. Nearly half their vessels were disabled or destroyed. Finally, the remaining Moralkan ships began to retreat, jumping to faster-than-light travel and disappearing from Earth's solar system. In the Pentagon bunker, cheers erupted as the last enemy ship vanished from the screens. Jack felt a mixture of relief and dread. They had won the first battle, but the war was just beginning. They will return, Ashara warned, echoing Jack's thoughts. With a larger fleet and new tactics. I know, Jack replied. But now they know humans aren't easy prey. The alien studied Jack curiously. That shot you fired on Nexus Station? Was it truly luck? Jack shrugged. I'm a decent shot, but not exceptional. In that moment, I just reacted. Called it luck. Called it instinct. Call it whatever you want. The Moralkans don't believe in luck, Ashara said. They believe your species has hidden abilities. That is why they fear you. Maybe our hidden ability is just being unpredictable, Jack suggested. A communications officer approached them. Ambassador Mason, we have a message from the Galactic Council. They've called an emergency session regarding the battle. Jack nodded. Tell them I'll be there, and tell them to prepare for the real war. This was just the beginning. As Jack left to prepare for his return to Nexus Station, Commander Reed's voice came over the comm system, addressing all of Earth's defenders. We've won a victory today, she said. But the real fight is just starting. The Moralkans now know what humans can do. One human. One shot. One galactic conflict triggered. Let's show them what happens when all humans stand together. 2 months had passed since the first battle. Earth had won a victory, but the celebration was short-lived. As predicted, the Moralkans returned with a larger force. Battles were now being fought throughout the solar system. Humanity had suffered losses, but so had the enemy. Jack Mason stood in the great chamber of the Galactic Council on Nexus Station. Representatives from all 17 species listened as he made his case. The Moralkan Imperium isn't just attacking Earth, he said. They've attacked 3 council worlds in the past week. This is no longer just our war, it's a galactic conflict. Councillor Ziklath of the Viridians buzzed in disagreement. The Moralkans attack those worlds because they support humans. If we distance ourselves from your species, we will be safe. That's not true, Jack argued. The Moralkans were preparing for war long before I fired that shot. They're using it as an excuse to attack worlds they've wanted to conquer for centuries. The debate continued for hours. In the end, the council remained divided. 9 species led by the Luminari pledged support for Earth. The others chose to remain neutral or suggested that sacrificing humanity might bring peace. After the session, Jack met with Councillor Ashara in a private chamber. You did well, Ashara said. More species support you now than before. Not enough, Jack replied. We need ships, weapons, allies who will fight beside us. There may be another way to gain allies, Ashara suggested. The Moralkans have many enemies besides the Council. Species they've conquered over the centuries. You mean like slave races? The Moralkans prefer the term worker castes, but yes. Some, like the Vexari, were once technologically advanced before the Moralkans conquered them. If they could be freed. Jack's eyes widened. A prison break on a galactic scale. Back on Earth, Commander Olivia Reed reviewed the latest battle reports in the Underground Command Center that had once been Denver, Colorado. Most major cities were now empty. Their populations moved to underground shelters or rural areas to avoid Moralkan bombardment. Her aide, Peter Campbell, entered with a tablet. Commander, we've lost the outpost on Mars. Olivia closed her eyes briefly. Casualties? 70% of personnel evacuated in time. The rest? He didn't finish the sentence. What about the Jupiter defense line? Holding, but the Moralkans are bringing in reinforcements daily. We can't match their numbers. Olivia studied the tactical display showing enemy positions throughout the solar system. We can't win a war of attrition. We need a game changer. The door opened and Dr. Natalie Cooper entered, looking excited despite the grim news. I think I've found one, she said, placing a data drive on the table. I've been studying the Moralkan communication patterns. They use a hive mind to coordinate their forces. We know that, Olivia said. That's why they're so effective in large numbers. Yes, but I've discovered something else. The hive mind has limitations. It works at near instantaneous speeds within a certain range, but over long distances there's a delay. Peter looked confused. How does that help us? It means their empire has weak points, Natalie explained. Far from their throne world, the connection to the central hive is weaker. If we could reach some of their conquered worlds, we could free those species to fight against them, Olivia finished. But we can't spare ships to travel that far. We need every vessel to defend Earth. Then we need a small team on a fast ship, Natalie suggested. Just enough to reach the nearest conquered world and start a rebellion. Olivia considered this. I'll take the idea to the president. But who would lead such a mission? 3 days. Later, Jack returned to Earth aboard a Luminari ship. The sleek vessel was faster than any human craft, allowing it to slip past Moralkan patrols. Councillor Ashara accompanied him, along with representatives from other friendly council species. They were taken directly to the Underground Command Center, where President Susan Clark waited with Olivia, Natalie, and other military leaders. Ambassador Mason, the president greeted him. Welcome back to Earth. Thank you, Madam President, Jack replied. I've brought technology and supplies from our allies, but not the fleet we were hoping for. We may have another option, President Clark said, nodding to Olivia. Commander Reed explained the plan to reach the conquered worlds and spark rebellions against the Moralkans. If we free even one species, she concluded, It could change the balance of power. 2 or 3, and suddenly the Moralkans are fighting a war on multiple fronts. It's risky, Jack said. The team would be deep in enemy territory with no backup. That's why we need someone who understands both humans and aliens, President Clark said. Someone who can represent Earth to potential allies. You, Jack. Jack was stunned. Me? I'm a diplomat, not a soldier or a spy. You're the face of humanity to the galaxy, Olivia said. The being who fired one shot and started this war. That makes you a symbol. To some, a hero. And we need a hero for this mission, the president added. Before Jack could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Peter rushed in with a tablet. Moralkan forces have broken through the Jupiter line, he reported. Their main fleet is heading for Earth. Estimated time of arrival, 48 hours. Olivia moved to the command console. All defense units to battle stations. Civilian shelters at maximum alert. It seems our timeline has been accelerated, President Clark said grimly. Ambassador, we need your decision now. Will you lead this mission? Jack looked around the room at the faces of people fighting to save their world. Then he looked at Counselor Ashara, who nodded slightly. I'll do it, Jack said. But I need a team. Dr. Cooper for her knowledge of Moralkan communications, and Dr. West, who's worked with alien technology. Granted, the president said, and a small security team. The Luminary ship is our fastest vessel. You'll leave immediately. While we're gone, what about Earth? Jack asked. Olivia's face hardened, with determination. We'll hold the line, no matter the cost. As preparations for the mission began, Jack found a quiet moment to call his wife Kate and daughter Lily at their shelter in the Rocky Mountains. I have to go away for a while, he told them via secure video link. Another diplomatic mission? Kate asked. Jack hesitated. Something like that. I'm going to try to find us some new friends. When will you be back? Lily asked, her young face worried. As soon as I can, Jack promised. And when I do, things will be better. After saying goodbye, Jack joined his team at the launch pad. The sleek Luminary ship waited, its silver hull gleaming under the lights. Dr. Natalie Cooper and Dr. Alan West were already aboard, along with 4 security officers, led by a tough-looking sergeant named Ben Harris. Counselor Ashara approached Jack before he boarded. What you're attempting is dangerous but necessary. The fate of many worlds now rests on your mission. No pressure, Jack said with a weak smile. Just another day that started with one human making one shot. That shot may yet save the galaxy, Ashara replied, if you succeed. As Jack boarded the ship, news came in that the first Moralkan scouts had entered Earth orbit. The final battle for humanity's homeworld was about to begin, while Jack and his team raced to find the allies that might turn the tide of war. The Luminary ship slipped through space at speeds no human vessel could match. Jack Mason stood on the bridge with Dr. Natalie Cooper, Dr. Alan West, and Sergeant Ben Harris. Their destination was Vexar, a planet conquered by the Moralkans 80 years ago. We'll arrive in 6 hours, the Luminary pilot informed them. What do we know about the Vexari? Jack asked. Natalie activated a display screen. They were highly advanced before the Moralkans conquered them. Specialists in technology and energy weapons, the Moralkans used them to build and maintain their ships. So they're valuable to the Moralkan Empire, Jack said. That could work in our favor. Or make them heavily guarded, Ben pointed out. Jack nodded. We'll need to move carefully, in and out with minimal detection. Meanwhile, back at Earth, the situation was dire. Commander Olivia Reed stood in the underground command center as reports came in from the battle in orbit. The Moralkan fleet had arrived in force, over 200 ships against Earth's remaining 30. Status of the Jupiter mines? Olivia asked. Peter checked his console. Ready to detonate on your command. During the previous months, humans had hidden thousands of mines in Jupiter's orbit. It was a trap set for this moment. Wait until their main force is in the kill zone, Olivia ordered. Then detonate. On the main screen, they watched as the Moralkan fleet moved into position around Jupiter, preparing to make their final push toward Earth. "Now," Olivia said. Peter pressed the command sequence. Across Jupiter's orbit, the mines activated simultaneously. The explosions ripped through the Moroccan fleet, destroying dozens of ships and damaging many more. "All Earth forces attack pattern Delta," Olivia ordered. "Hit them while they're confused." Earth's smaller ships darted forward, targeting the damaged Moroccan vessels. It was a desperate move, but it bought time. Time that Jack and his team needed to complete their mission. The Luminary ship approached Vexar, using its advanced cloaking technology to avoid detection. They landed in a remote area covered by dense purple vegetation, far from any Moroccan outposts. "According to intelligence, there's a Vexari resistance camp in these mountains," Alan said, checking a scanner. "Small but active. That's our first stop," Jack decided. The team moved through the alien forest. Everything about the planet was strange. The purple plants, the orange sky, the strange sounds of local creatures. After several hours, they reached a series of caves in the mountainside. Suddenly, they were surrounded by tall, thin beings with pale blue skin and 4 eyes. The Vexari pointed energy weapons at them. Jack raised his hand slowly. "We come as friends, enemies of the Moralkans." One Vexari stepped forward. "Humans," it said in a musical voice, "we have heard of your resistance. Why are you here?" "To offer an alliance," Jack replied. "The Moralkans aren't just fighting Earth. They're fighting the Galactic Council, and soon, we hope, every world they've conquered." The Vexari leader studied Jack. "Follow me." Inside the caves, they found hundreds of Vexari living in a hidden city. Technology beyond human understanding lined the walls and ceilings. "I am Zexon," the leader said. "For 80 years, we have fought a secret war against our conquerors. But we are few, and they are many." "Not anymore," Jack said. "The Moralkans are now fighting on multiple fronts. Their forces are spread thin. This is the time to strike." "Why should we trust you?" Zexon asked. Jack told them about his shot on Nexus Station, about Earth's desperate fight, and about their plan to unite the conquered worlds against the Moralkan Empire. After Jack finished, the Vexari conferred among themselves. Finally, Zexon turned back to him. "There is something you should know," the Vexari said. "The Moralkans have feared humans for centuries. But they only discovered us 3 years ago," Natalie said, confused. "They discovered Earth 3 years ago," Zexon corrected. "But they have known of humans for much longer. Our ancient texts speak of a prophecy, a single-shot species, that would one day free the galaxy from hive dominance." The humans exchanged shocked looks. "That's why they attacked so quickly after I fired that shot," Jack realized. It wasn't just an excuse. They truly feared what it meant. "And they were right to fear it," Zexon said. "Because now you are here, and the prophecy begins its fulfillment." Over the next 2 days, Jack and his team helped the Vexari prepare for a full-scale rebellion. Using Natalie's knowledge of Moralkan communications, they developed a plan to disrupt the hive-mind connection to the local Moralkan forces. "When we jam their connection to the main hive," Natalie explained, "they'll be confused, disorganized. That's when we strike." On the 3rd day, Alan and the Vexari technicians activated the jamming device. Across the planet, Moralkan forces suddenly lost their hive connection. The rebellion began. The Vexari, with weapons they had secretly built over decades, struck Moralkan outposts simultaneously. Jack and Ben led one attack force, while Natalie and Alan coordinated from the cave headquarters. By the end of the day, the Vexari had control of half the planet. By the end of the week, no Moralkans remained on Vexar. "This is just the beginning," Jack told Zexon. "We've received word that the Luminari and their allies have launched attacks on 3 other Moralkan-controlled systems, and Earth continues to hold out. We will build ships," Zexon promised. "The Moralkans forced us to build their fleet. Now we will build our own, better, faster, more powerful." 3 months later, Jack stood on the bridge of a Vexari battleship approaching Earth. Behind them was a fleet of 500 vessels, Vexari ships alongside those of 3 other liberated species and vessels from the Allied Council races. On the main screen, they could see the battle around Earth still raging. The humans had held out, though at great cost. Nearly every city on the planet showed damage from Moralkan attacks. "All ships prepare for battle," Jack ordered. "Let's end this war." The combined fleet hit the Moralkan forces from behind, catching them completely by surprise. It was no contest. The Liberation Fleet tore through the enemy ships, pushing them away from Earth. The Moralkan command ship attempted to retreat, but the Vexari vessels, faster than anything the Moralkans had seen before, cut off their escape. Left with no options, War Master VK Tel sent a transmission. "We offer terms of surrender," the Moralkan leader said. 1 month later, Jack stood once again in the great chamber of the Galactic Council. This time, he was not alone. Representatives from Earth stood beside delegates from the Vexari and other liberated worlds. "Today we welcome new members to our council," the council leader announced. "Earth, Vexar, Trell, and Xandor, worlds that have proven their courage and their wisdom." Counselor Ashara approached Jack after the ceremony. "Your species continues to confound us," the Luminari admitted. "You wage war with unmatched ferocity, then show mercy at the moment of victory." The Moralkans had not been destroyed. Instead, they had been confined to their home system, their empire dismantled, their conquered worlds freed. "That's the human equation," Jack said. "We contain multitudes of contradictions. That's what makes us unpredictable, but it's also what makes us strong." As Jack looked around the chamber, now with a permanent human section, he thought about how much had changed. One human, one shot, one galactic conflict that had changed everything. He couldn't wait to go home and tell his family that the stars now belonged to all of them.